सुंदरनाथाय तस्मै हालास्य वासिने चतुष्षष्टि विधालीला येनाकारि भुवस्थले श्रीमत् सुंदरनाथस्य देवीं शतरलोचनां कलये हृदये नित्यं कदम्ब वनवासिनी पूतं स्वतः पूततरं ततो यद्गाङ्गं वयः शङ्करमौळिसङ्गात् तत्पातु मातुः प्रणयापराध पादाहतैः पूततमं ततो नः पश्यन् अनुग्रहं शम्भोः स्वप्नजागरयोः समम् उत्सेहे सतु भूयोऽपि पार्थिवः पुरकर्मणि आपितद्विपिनं सान्द्रम् अज्ञातालोकसङ्कथं शासनात् पाण्ड्यनृपतेः जातं जाङ्गलवत् क्षणात् तपनेन्दुकरालीढे तस्मिन् दिष्ट्या वनोदरे ब्रह्मचर्यं जहुः चक्राः दुर्भिक्षञ्च चकोरिकाः परमेश्वरस्य अनुग्रहेण कुलशेखरपाण्ड्यः तत्र वनं नगरं निर्माणं कर्तुं वने नगरं निर्माणं कर्तुम् अथवा वनं नगरं कर्तुं प्रयासम् अकरोत्. So he starts off his effort of trying to make the entire forest of Kadambavanam, Nipavanam into a city. And this is also according to Parameshwara's wish. When he calls all the architects and he makes them discuss about it, and he doesn't make them discuss, but the architects, once they come together, when experts come together, they automatically decide. They have difference of opinions and they start discussing about whether to build it in a swastika format or a vrittam format or dirgha vrittam, how should the face of the houses be and all that, because they are given a blank sheet of paper here to design the entire city and start working on it. Now, as they were all discussing, a Siddha Purusha who had appeared in the dream of Kulashekara Pandya, he appeared in the same format in person, Sakshat Tatra Agatya, Evamem Karaniyam iti kartavyatam avadat. So he gave the plan for all of them and he left. So the Parthivaha, the king, also decided that this is the grace of Shambhu because he came in the same state, same form, both in his swapne, jagarecha, both in his dream state and in his waking state. He saw that the person was the same and he engaged in that city work. Purakarmani saha utsehe. Then that forest, which did not even know any light, it quickly became a place called Jangala. Jangala is a kind of place. We saw that it is not a desert, but at the same time it is a desert place. It is a desert kind of place, but it is more like a plains. So where trees can grow, there are animals also, but then it has bushes more than big trees or anything there. Okay. Jangalavat Kshanat Abhut. So it quickly became reduced to a kind of place where you can build a city. Tapana Indu Kara Alidhe. Now, Neelakanta Dikshita goes into a description of how that place was. Nipavanam, which was a vanam before, Kadambavanam, which was a forest before, it was reduced to a place which was fit for Nagaram. So he plays with this idea now. So a lot of animals were destroyed, or a lot of animals were caught and killed. People who were roaming around in the forest were now forced to mingle with the people in the city. So he plays with this kind of thing. And he says now in the interior parts of the forest, which was usually, where the light of the sun or the moon did not even enter, now the rays of the sun and the moon entered. So the birds which were dependent on the moon and sun before, they could not even get that light, but now they got the light freely. So they were very happy. Okay, so Durbhiksham, Jahuhu, they left their both their brahmacharyam and their scarcity of food. Now they could get more food because the moonlight was coming directly for the Chakorika birds and they could have their food without any interruption. Moving further, in the 89th shloka, Charanto jantavaha yatra jataha vanacharaha pura tadeva asit vanacharam takshanam tasya shasanat. He uses slesha here and a kind of an alankara where the word vanachara can be expressed in two ways. Okay, there are two pratyayas which go there. One is a tap pratyaya, the other is a charat pratyaya. So the first kind is vanacharaha. Vanacharaha. So there were many animals there before in that forest. Jantavaha charantaha yatra. Yatra yasmin kadambavane. Pura, before, there were jantu. There were many pranis which were moving around. And those pranis were called vanacharaha before. That is, they were wild forest dwellers. Even you can take jantu as not na kevalam mrigaha tatra janaha api. So jantavaha ityukte tatra sakshat praninaha ityeva asmabhi svikartavyam tatra. So pura charantaha jantavaha vanacharaha jataha yatra purvam vanam asit tatra tu nagara nirmana arambhat purvam ye charantaha asan. Ye jantavaha praninaha charantaha asan. So those animals which were animals or no living beings. So those beings which were roaming around in that forest before, when it was a forest, they all of those beings, whether it were people or animals, they were all called vanacharaha. Here the pratyaya here is ta pratyaya, that is vane charanti iti vanacharaha, vanyaha, wild animals or forest dwellers. That's what it means. Okay, so those pranis, those living beings were called forest dwellers before. Now tadeva, that same area, tasya shasanat, Kulashekarasya adeshat, by the orders of the king Kulashekara, that area, Kadambavanameva tadeva vanacharam takshanam vanacharam asit. Takshanam sadhyaha, immediately, jatiti. Vanacharam asit. Now here you take chara is not charati iti, parantu tatra charat iti pratyayah. We have had this before in two places in the same sarga. Bhutapurve charat iti, that which was something before. That is Bhutapurvam Vanam iti Vanacharam. Shrutapurvam, Shrutam Purvam iti Bhutapurvam Shrutam iti chet Shrutacharameva. It is something that was already known. Drishtapucharam, we have already seen it. So that which was already a Vanam, which means that which was a Vanam in the past, which is no longer a Vanam. So he uses Vanachara and Vanachara in two different ways. So what does he mean here? The purport of this shloka is nothing. Those who were all forest dwellers, now that entire place became known as ex-forest Madri. You know, something that was a forest before, now it has become conducive for Nagaravasinaha. Even city dwellers can come and live in that place. Tatha abhut adhuna iti. Etattu purvam vanam asit, adhuna tu vanam nasti. Purvam yatra janaha tatra asan, te tu vanacharaha iti asan, adhuna tu tatra vanam nasti. Nagara anukulam vartate, nagaravasinam cha anukulata vartate. Clear? So it was very easy and conducive or anukulam for both the city dwellers and for a city to be built here. It just plays with that word vanachara to give out two meanings for those words. It just shows Nilakanta Dikshita was an expert in grammar. He had Panini's sutras in mind, and the more than having them in mind, to put them in a very appropriate manner such that the kavya nayam is not lost because of that. You know, you can also enjoy the kavyam, and the grammar just beautifully blends with the whole thing. It is not specifically put in like a Shastra Kavi who does this. Okay. Sometimes when you look at Bhatti Kavyam in Ravanavadha, many places it will be very natural and very beautiful, but then there will be some places where he brings in the difficult forms of those verbs, and it is very tough for us to pronounce, and the kavitvam is lost there. Whereas here he has used very soft words and brings in the beauty of the poetry also. Charanto jantavo yatra. That could also be my own opinion, because I am partial towards whether it is Appay Dikshita or Nilakanta Dikshita. That could be the reason for my opinion. But I'm just saying, Charanto jantavo yatra jata vanachara pura tadeva asit vanacharam takshanam tasya shasanat. Shannamapi adhvanam ante shashvatam padam aishwaram. Iti shrutvaiva siddhantam advantam tadayam vyadhat. We saw this kind of a shloka in the first shloka, first sarga initially, and then in the second sarga when he was describing about Parameshwara there, right? So now he brings in that, because he as he is going closer and closer towards Sundareshwara, Nilakanta Dikshita gets attracted towards that, and he wants to bring in the Slesha with all these things. Earlier we saw that it was his grammar expertise. Now we will see his Shaivagama expertise. Shannamapi adhvanam ante shashvatam aishwaram padam vartate. Iti shrutva eva, after hearing this statement, that is, moksha is definite, or shashvatam moksham bhavati, an eternal liberation, or moksha, eternal abode of Ishvara. Aishwaram padam shashvatam katham ante, at the end of Shannamapi adhvanam ante, at the end of all 6 paths, there is this Shashvatam, eternal padam, place of Parameshwara, Aishwaram. Iti Shrutva. Having heard this, I am this, our Kulashekara decided that he should make this Siddhanta, he should establish this Siddhantam. He decided that he should establish this Siddhantam, and he made this place, forest, Advantam. The wordplay here is Advanta can be split as Advanam Antam, where it is the end or the goal of the paths. Adva ityukte margaha. Advanam marganam advan iti nakaranta shabdaha. So adva advanau advanaha panthaha panthano panthanaha iti vate tatra kintu adva advanau advanaha. So advanam antam ityukte marganam antam, the goal of all of the paths in the Shaiva Siddhanta, or advantam. Dhvanta dhvamsam vidatte iti Saundarya-laharyam vartate. Dhvantam garche, it is andhakaraha. So advantam, dhvantam yatra na vidyate iti advantam. Tasmat tatra andhakara eva na asit. Purvam tu vana rupena yada asit, tatra tu andhakara vyaptatvam asit. That is, it was completely enveloped with darkness when it was a forest. Now, this Kulashekara ensured that it became Advantam. That is, he established the Siddhanta of Advantam. That is, he made that forest to be a place without any darkness. That is, it was just an open field here. But the play here is, he heard that an eternal padam can be attained at the end of all the 6 advas, and so he made this also an advanta. Usually Kadambavanam is the place, is the goal for every person who practices Shaiva Siddhanta, or who believes in it and who believes in Parameshwara and Shakti. So this Halasya Puram or Sundareshwara's Sannidhi is the ultimate place where both Shiva and Shakti's presence are felt. And even today, you can go there and stand and feel that presence there. So it is the goal after all the 6 paths. I'll come to what the 6 paths are, because that is a huge topic here. So the Advantam, at the end of your goal, and that is the Siddhantam. Siddhantam is the well-established fact. So he wanted to prove that this Kadambavanam is the Advantam. The play of the words here is that he uses Slesha and he brings in the double meaning and says this Kadambavanam now has become a place without darkness. It has been well established. Siddhantam, Advantam, Vyadhat. Vyadhat ityukte akarot. He made this place into a well-established fact that it is the end of darkness. Advantam. Advantam. Tamasam antam nasham. Okay. You can take it like that also. Advanam tamasam antam iti. Athava advantam dvanta shunyam. You can have, again, adva can also mean path. Adva can also mean darkness. So tamasam antam, because the path itself is comes within the range of aparavidya. So what are these paths? There are 6 paths to attain Parameshwara. You can follow any path. There are 3 paths. Even in Lalita Sasnamam, you have the Namavali which says Shadadvatita Rupini. Devi has the form Rupam, which is beyond the 6 paths. So there are 6 paths that you can adopt. Just as how Adi Shankara has given us a Shanmata Stapanam, he has given us 6 paths to attain the Paramatma, where you can follow your Ishtadevata of either Ganapatyam, Sauram. So Ganapati can be your Ishtadevata, so you follow the path of Ganapatyam. Sauram is where the Devata is Surya, and you follow that path. Or Shakta, Shakti is your Devata, Paradevata, and you follow that path, which is Shakta. The 4th path is Shaivam. Shiva is the primary deity there. And Vaishnavam, Vishnu is the primary deity. Kaumaram, which is Kumara Swami or Kartikeya. Kartikeya is your primary deity. So you can take any Ishtadevata in your mind and continue doing puja and other path, follow that path in any manner. Now, the common path that you find in Shaiva Siddhanta or Shakta Siddhanta, both usually go hand in hand, because Shiva Shaktya Yuktaha. Shivastu Tatra Shaktya Yuktaha eva bhavati iti karanat Tatra Shaktasya Shaivasya tu. There is always a parallel thing going on, but somewhere along the line where you have the Paratattvam, that is when you will have a lot of differences. Of course, even in each section, you will find that here we will be naming the Shivaganas, whereas in Shaktam we will be naming the Yoginis or Shakti Tattvas. That's all. The nomenclatures will be a little different. The Tattvas, counting of the Tattvas will be different, but they go parallelly. Both Shaktam and Shaivam go parallelly. So that's why in Kashmiri Shaivism, there is never a separate Shaktam or a Shaivam there. You will have a Pratyabhijna Shaivam and a Shaktam also, but they generally term it as Kashmir Shaivism. But they will talk about Shakti also there, Shiva also there. So it's there is a combination there in the this thing, but we have Shakta Matam also. Now let's come to the 6 paths that you take. There are 3 paths which are Vimarshatmaka and 3 paths which are Prakashatmaka. So we look at it as Shabda Rupam and Artha Rupam. What are you looking at? Shabda Rupam ityukte, that which is very internal. Artha Rupam ityukte, that which is external. When you take a word, say book, the word is very internal. It is within your brain, within your speech pattern. Okay. But when you look at the object book, that is your Artha Swarupam. Right? This world is made up of both Shabdam and Artha. Shabda Swarupam Akhilam Dhatte Sharvasya Vallabha Artha Jatam tu Dhatte Shabde Mugdendu Shekaraha. So in the system of Shaiva Siddhanta or Shaktam, Shabda Swarupam is Devi because she is the Shakti here, and all of the Padartha Swarupam, Artha Swarupam is Parameshwara, which is your Jada Vastu. So Parameshwara represents all of the Jada Vastu, and Shakti is the one that gives that energy to any of those Jada Vastu. But you can go through any path. What is this path that you are looking at? There are mantra, varna, pada, mantram are three things which forms the Shabda Rupam or the Vimarshatmakam, which is within the body. The next is Kala, Tattvam and Bhuvanam. These come under the path of Prakasha Rupam or Artha Rupam, which is the macro level. So you can take the Varna, Pada, Mantra as the micro level and Kala, Tattvam and Bhuvanam as the macro level. So Varnam is every letter is a Bijakshara. Panchashat Matrika Varna Rupini Ityasti. So every letter starting from A, I, U, R, there are 51 Varnas. The Varna Adva here is a Matrika Varnas, which is different from the Vyakarana Siddhanta of Samyuktakshara and separate Aksharas, consonants, Vyanjanam, all that. No. For us here in Shakti or Shaiva Siddhanta, even Tra, Ksha, Gnya, this is a Varna. It is not like ik, ksha, sha, ik plus ish plus a iti nasti tatra. It is not a trivarna samputam iti nasti. It is one varna. That is why you have 51 varnas and you say eka panchashat athava panchashat matrika varna rupi. Some people remove certain words. So there is a pathabedam or let's say difference of opinion between a lot of scholars depending on how many number of varnas are there and how many matrika varnas are there. So when you say matrika varnas, you add certain samyuktaksharas also with it. Okay, this is the Varna Adva. Varna Adva is you adopt this path of repeating only the Bijaksharas. Not just the entire mantram. Mantram comes in the third level. Because the first level is just an akshara. If you look at Devi Bhagavatam, in the first skanda itself, he talks about one Raja, Yudhajit is the enemy side. This person's name is something else. He grows up in the forest from the young age. He hears the letter Aim, which is a Bijakshara. He just hears it and he continuously repeats it without knowing what the meaning of that Tattvam is at all from young age. And then suddenly he hears the lecture or he lives in an ashrama padam, and those rishis in that ashrama explain to him that this is the Bijaksharam of the Devi, and they explain that the significance of Aim and tell him. After that, he starts reciting it with the conscious effort, thinking that what the whole is about. Okay, Utatyaha illa. No. This is someone else. I don't remember his name. He also gets married to someone. It goes for a couple of adhyayas there. So he repeats this Aim Bija. This is Dvitiya Khandam. I need the Prathama Khandam, which is somewhere else. So he repeats that Bijakshara continuously. Satyavrata. Yes. He repeats that Bijaksharam continuously, and then he realizes Devi. He goes for a Swayamvaram, and a lot of these kings are standing there trying to fight with him. He just remembers Devi because of that Bijakshara Abhyasaha, and Durga herself comes there and fights with the entire host of kings there. So Varna Adva is where you think about just one particular Varnam continuously and repeatedly, using that as the path to realize the Devi or Shiva. Pada Adva is where you take on a set of syllables. Varna Samudaya, Shiva, Shivaya, or something like that. Not even Om Namah Shivaya, which is the Panchakshara Mantram. in the Rama Rama Raman solron liya and the madri. So it's just a varna samudaya which is also only in the shabda realm. Next is the mantram, where you can have mantras starting from triaksharam, 3 letters, to panchakshara, to how many ever, there are some mantras which are 21 aksharas and all that. So mantram is a pada samudaya. You can have many padas joined together in the when you come to this mantra, it depends on the guru. The guru should tell you. You can't read a mantram from a book and continuously recite and hope that there will be a good effect about that mantra. No, the mantram as such is just a skeleton there. The guru will look at your what is your samskara, what is your nature, what is your attitude, and then he will add what is your goal also. He will look at all that, and then the guru will attach certain bijaksharas in front and later and tell you to recite it in a certain fashion. That arrangement will be done by the guru. That is why none of these are useless, or they can even give you the wrong effect if you just take it from a book and start reading. It's not going to have that desired effect. It can bring you some side effects. It is like just going to some pharmacy and getting some medicine and trying it out without even understanding your body completely, right? That is how this is. So varna adva, pada adva, mantra adva, these are 3 shabda rupam, which is vimarsha rupa. This is more subtle. The prakasha rupa is the manifested format, which is your outside thing. So kala adva, artha rupaha, prakashaha. So this is kala adva is something which is kalaha are 5 in number, which is actually there are many. Kala Tattvam actually has different this thing here. What I have written is Pratishtha, Nivritti, Vidya, Shanti, and Shantyatita are the things that I have written. There is also so the Shantyatita, Shanti, Vidya, each one has separate things in it, within it. So you have divisions, several divisions within this also. So Shantyatita Kala has 15 steps in our body itself. You start from Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, and Agnya. These are also the paths, and then these are actually divided into 12. They are not only 6, but each one has a subdivision there, and then you have 3 more beyond. Okay, இதெல்லாம் வந்து too technical for us to go into it. So there is one section which says that there are 5 kalas, which is Pratishtha, Nivritti, Vidya, Shanti, and Shantyatita. Tattva advan edutundamna, again Shastra anurodha. You have Shiva Tattvam, Shakti Tattvam are 2. Sadashiva, Ishvara, Shuddha Vidya are 3. So 2 plus 3 is 5. Mayadi Purushantam, there are 7. So Maya, Mahattattvam, Ahankara, and then Satvika, Rajasika, Tamasika, Ahankara. You have Prakriti, Purusha. So that is 7 tattvas there. So 7 plus 5, you have 12. Another 23 tattvas, which are Tanmatra, 5 Pancha Bhutani, Pancha Jnanendriyani, Pancha Karmendriyani. And then you have, so this forms some 35 tattvas or 36 tattvas. There can be just 25 tattvas, which is according to Sankhya Matam. 36 tattvas according to Shaiva Siddhanta. There is another division which is 64 tattvas. These are the Prapancha Srishti Rupam. That is why it is a Prakashatmakam. So it is an outer manifestation of how Parameshwara creates this entire world, and you are trying to understand each and every tattvam that is there and going through that tattvam. You are understanding that is, you are concentrating on Parameshwara or Devi Parabhattarika as one of the tattvams here, and slowly moving from one level to another level. So this goes beyond the body, and you are actually contemplating on the creation and the universe here. Now, this is just the tattvas which are subtle and which are used to create this universe. You can also go beyond this tattvam and look at the universe itself. That is your final thing, which is the bhuvana adva. Now, this bhuvana path is you go from one world to another world. So there are 14 bhuvanas, right? Chaturdasha bhuvanani. And then there are other bhuvanas also. There is Sadakya bhuvanam, Vamanta bhuvanam. So Vama iti ekam bhuvanam asti. There are 18 such bhuvanas also. Idella vandu you will find it in Shaiva Siddhanta. So there are actually totally 224 lokas in the Upasana Marga. You go from one world to another world. Even in the Chandogya Upanishad, you will find that Archiradi Margena Tatra, they go to from one lokam to another lokam. Not only Bhur Bhuvaswar Mahaha Abdinilla, each one will have separate smaller divisions probably, right? And you go through each one of those lokas, and then you attain, at the end of all this, you have Parameshwara, right? So there are three paths which are very subtle, and there are three parts which are sthula path. Shadadvanaha. Ivvalavu vishayam irukku. You know, he has put in, Nilakanta Dikshita has just said very casually, Shannamapi advanamante shashwatam padam aishwaram. You, no matter what path you take, the ultimate goal there is shashwatam padam. It is an eternal sthanam, and it is the sthanam that is aishwaram, ishwara sambaddham. It is a sthanam which belongs to Parameshwara, or it is what Parameshwara gives as an anugraham. Okay. After hearing this, Siddhantam Advanta, our goal here is only to realize that this entire thing Nilakanta Dikshita has used to show that he has removed the darkness from Kadambavanam, and now this Kadambavanam is free for Kulashekara Pandya to build a city. That's all. Okay. So Shannamapi Adhanamante Shashwatam Padamaishwaram Iti Shrutvaiva Siddhantam Advantam Tadayam Vyadhat. Apyantara tamohartuhu bhakhe tamasi kakshama labhoyam yet shivat arat iyantam kalam astatat. Parameshwara, he is very well capable of removing this darkness. He doesn't need one Kulashekara Pandya and a band of architects for him to remove all this. Parameshwara, who is Samharakarta, he removes the entire world. He can destroy the entire world. He is capable of removing the antaratamas. Antaratamas ityukte antaha bhavam antaram. Antaratamo hartuhu api. Antaram tamaha ityukte atma avarana roopam tamaha. Ajnanam. It is an ajnana or ignorance, tamas, that is present within, not without, not the andhakara that is present outside, but it is the andhakara that is present within, and it is covering the atmaswarupa. It is stopping us from, it is obstructing us from the Swayamjyoti Swarupa, or the realization of the Supreme. तादृश अंतःकरणमे antaram tamaha api hartuhu, harta, harati. One who is capable, nivartakaha, one who is capable of removing the ignorance itself. Bhakye tamasi ka kshama. Kshama ityukte kshantihi. He has so much of patience about the outer darkness. That is Kadambavanam. He has been with this in this darkness for such a long time. Why has he shown so much of patience towards this Bhakya tamas, when he is capable of removing even the most abstract of things, which is the Antara tamas? Okay, Antara tamo hartuhu api Bahye tamasi, in the matter of Vishaya Saptami, in the matters of outside tamas, outside darkness, ka kshama, what is this big patience that he is showing towards this outer darkness which can be removed within seconds for him, right? Ayam labhaha. Now, this is the fortune that this darkness has been existing in the presence of Parameshwara for such a long time. Ayameva labhaha yat tat palam. What is that palam of this darkness? Shivat arat tat tamaha iyantam kalam asta asit. It was sitting arat ityukte antike समीपे शिव सामीप्यमेव इयन्तं कालम् आस्त तत् तमः इयन्तं कालम् आस्त. Now you'll have to look at it in two ways. One is from the tamas perspective. Imagine tamas is a personification, and tamas had this great fortune, andhakara, that is darkness, had this great fortune of being so close to Parameshwara for such a long time. So it is the bhagyam of that tamas. Now look at it from the king's perspective. It is such a great fortune for the king. I am Kulashekarasya labhaha. Yate tamaha tatraiva asit natu tasya manasi iti. It is the good fortune of Kulashekara that this ignorance or this darkness was present only near Parameshwara, and it did not have an opportunity to enter into Kulashekara's mind and give him that ajnanam. He was able to feel the presence of Parameshwara much more. And it is also the good fortune for the tamas that it could stay with the Ishvara for such a long time. It's just a way of rearranging. He has left it as an open-ended statement here. He just says, Ayam labhaha yat. The fortune is that tat tamaha iyantam kalam shivat arat goes with the Panchami Vibhakti. Okay, Shivasya antike iti. That tamas could stay very close to Parameshwara. This is the labham. He doesn't say kasya labhaha iti. Tamasaha labhaha va athava pandasya labhaha atra. So whose fortune is it? We can take it in both perspectives. It's an open-ended statement that Nilakanta Dikshita gives. So we have to take it in both ways. So apyantaratamo hartuhu bhahye tamasika kshama. It doesn't matter whether he had the patience for it, nor why did he have the patience for it, why didn't he destroy it, that and all, we don't need to think about anything. See, another subtle philosophy that Dikshita gives us here is never try to understand why. You know, even in the second Sarga, he says, Nahi Ishvara Paryanuyogashīlaha. We can't question Parameshwara about his actions here. Why did he leave this Tamraparani and have Ganga on his head? We had that in the second Sarga, right? So, Kimartham evam iti chet, hey, who are you to question about Parameshwara's attitude? Nahi Ishvaraha Paryanayogashīlaha. You cannot question Parameshwara about his attitude. Let him do whatever he wants. Kimartham kakshama iti kimartham atra prashnaha. Ayam tu labhaha. Let's look at the positive aspect of things. Let us never think about the reason behind all of these things. That is the learning from Nilakanta Dikshita here. Apyantaratamo hartuhu bhakyetamasi kakshama. Labhoyam yat shivadarat iyantam kalam asta tat. Ghatam ghatam iha vyagran graham graham shubhas tvachaha aharan vastra durbhiksham kinkaras tasya shankaram. They started killing a lot of see, when you want to reduce such a great forest to a place where a city can be built, there would be a lot of animals, vanyamargaha, wild animals which are there. So they had to catch all of those and kill them, and in a way they had to do something about it. But Nilakanta Dikshita, without dwelling on the negative aspect of it, he uses this as a positive twist. Ghatam ghatam, ghatam ghatam, graham graham. These are all forms of, actually it is a twa, the conversion of a twa pratyaya into namul. You use the pratyaya namul to form ghatam ghatam and graham graham. Han is the dhatu for this, and graha dhatu, grinnati iti. Hana is hanti, to kill. So when you are doing an action again and again, paunaf punyam, abhikshniye namul, when there is a repetition that is being indicated, then you use the pratyaya namul here. So hatva hatva, this namul we have seen before also. So hatva hatva iti chet ghatam ghatam, you use it the same way as you will use hatva. But here it shows the repetition, and you should also use it twice. You can't just say vyagrana ghatam. Iti tatra upyogaha na bhavati. You will have to use that word twice to give that effect also. Vyagran ghatam ghatam. Konnu konnu pannindrinda. அப்படிங்கிறோம்ல அந்த எஃபெக்ட் வரணும். கொன்னுட்டு கொன்னுட்டு அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து will not give you so much of a I have to use Tamil here because it's very close to the Tamil expression that you use. In English, the easiest way to say is having repeatedly killed tigers, okay, and having repeatedly taken the skin of those tigers. Shubhaha tvachaha, very fresh and beautiful skins of those tigers. Having taken those skins, iha vyagran ghatam ghatam, shubhas tvachaha graham graham, grihitva grihitva, punah punah grihitva. What we need here is tasya kinkaraha, the servants of Kulashekara, they removed the scarcity of clothes for Parameshwara. See, Parameshwara is called Digambaraha, right? He doesn't wear any cloth. He dikkeva ambaram yasya. Only the directions or the akasham is the ambaram for him. There is no, he doesn't wear any cloth. So that is one aspect. He is also known as Vyagra Charmadhari, Shardula Charmadhari, one who wears the skin of a Vyagra, Gaja Charmadhari, who also wears the skin of elephant. So there are many descriptions for Parameshwara, but you also find the description of Digambara. Until now, probably he was there in this forest and he didn't have any vastram. Nobody came and gave vastram for him, probably inside the forest, because it was not worshipped on a regular basis, right? Only for Somavara Puja, all these devatas came down and probably worshipped Parameshwara there. Otherwise, they did not even come there. Who knows? So there was a dearth or a scarcity for clothes. Vastra durbhiksham. Like Anna Durbhiksham, like grains or famine, there was a famine of clothing for Parameshwara. Now, these Kulashekara Sevakas, they killed all these tigers, having repeatedly killed the tigers and repeatedly taken their skins. The king's followers removed this Shankaram Durbhiksham. Shankaras, Parameshwaras, Vastra Durbhiksham, Vastra Rahityam, they removed it. They Apagamahitisma. Okay, so ghatam ghatam iha vyagran iha kadambavane. In this forest, shubhaha tvachaha. So they were all beautiful skins also. Only if they were beautiful and if they could make it into a vastram for Parameshwara, they decided to give it as a vastram for Parameshwara. Okay, so ghatam ghatam iha vyagran graham graham shubhas tvachaha aharan vastra durbhiksham kinkaraha tasya shankaram. I'd like to stop with this. So any questions, you can raise your hand. No questions? Sure. Okay, then we'll meet next week. Okay. Namas sundaranathaya tasmai irka. Okay. Yeah. You can unmute yourself. Chalgo. Hello. Okay, fine. Where are any questions?
Namaste, Mahade.
Namaste.
Adya kinchit avagamanam katinam asilsite.
Adbhava.
Punah shutva yatnam karomi.
இது ஆத்மார்ப்பண ஸ்துதி கேளுங்கோ. அதுல இந்த ஆத்மார்ப்பண ஸ்துதி fourth ஸ்லோகால வந்து he mentions the same thing and I have explained it in Tamil, so it might be easier if you know Tamil, so இன்னும் இதுவா இருக்கும்.
अहं तमिळ् जानामि एव।
இல்ல ஆமா உங்களுக்கு தெரியுமே. எஸ், ஸோ யூ கேன் கோ த்ரூ தேட் ஆல்சோ, இன்னும் விவரமா இருக்கும். இது எனக்கே ரொம்ப தெரியாது, நான் சொல்றேனே உண்மையை சொல்லணும்னா திஸ் இஸ் டூ டெக்னிக்கல் அண்ட்
तदेव
இதெல்லாம் வந்து எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஷியலா வரணும். அனுபவ ஐக்க வேத்தியம், யூ வில் ஹாவ் டு எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் இட் டு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் ஹவு தே ஹவ் ரிட்டன் இட், ஹவு தே ஹவ் சீன் இட், இல்லையா? ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். ஏதோ ஒரு
शान्त्यतीत कलात्मिका इति
ஆமா
ललितासहस्रनाम स्तोत्रे श्रुतवती, तावदेव अर्थं न जानामि।
நல்லா கஷ்டம். அது வந்து என்னன்னா நுனிப்புல் மேயற மாதிரி நான் வந்து பண்ணிருக்கேன், அவ்வளவுதான். இது அதுக்கு மேலெல்லாம்
महोदय एव नुनिपुल् चेद् वयं कुत्र
அகாடமிக் இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் மேம், அதெல்லாம் ஒண்ணும் இல்ல.
अन्यत् महोदय उक्तवती किल, एवं सुतत्यः इति कश्चन, सः तु देवी भागवते
ஆமா
देवी
உத்தத்தியக இருக்கு.
भागवते उतत्यः इति, सः तु यदा होम भवति हवनसमये नाम विस्मृतवती, बैलः वा कोऽपि, सः वृद्धः तस्य श्वासोच्छ्वास क्लेशेन मन्त्रोच्चारणे सः किञ्चित् तत्र स्वः क्लेशम् अनुभवति। तदा पुत्रार्थी पिता मम पुत्रार्थ होमसमये एवं भवान् करोति चेत् किम् इति सः कुपितः, अतः शापं प्राप्तवान्, भवतः पुत्रः भविष्यति किन्तु मूर्खः भविष्यति इति। मूर्खवती एव सः उपनयनात् परमपि भवति, किमपि न भाषते, एवं कथा अस्ति।
கரெக்ட் கரெக்ட். அது வல்ல ஐ வாஸ் திங்கிங் அபவுட் திஸ் சத்யவிரதா தான் நினைக்கிறேன் அவனோட பேர், எனக்கு கரெக்ட்டா
नाम अपि सत्यव्रत इति भवति, यतः सः वने भवति, सत्यमेव सर्वदा वदति, किन्तु तत्र उत्तम श्लोक एकः अस्ति।
அந்த கதையை சொல்றேன். ரைட் ரைட் ரைட்.
या पश्यति सा न ब्रूते, या ब्रूते सा न पश्यति।
கரெக்ட் கரெக்ட். நான் அத சொல்லல, இது முதல்ல வந்து ஒரு கதை உண்டு. ஐம்னு அந்த அரசன், ஆக்சுவலி அந்த ஒரு அரசன் வந்து இருப்பான், அவன் காட்டுல அமுச்சுடுவா, அந்த ஒரு கதை ஒண்ணு இருக்கு. அது ஐ எம் நாட் ஷுவர்.
देवी महात्म्ये तु सुरतस्य कथा अस्ति, अन्यत्र ध्रुवसन्धिः इति कश्चन
தேவி பாகவத புராணத்துல இருக்கிற கதை இது. அதுல முதல்ல வரும் ஒரு ராஜாவனுடைய கதை, ஒரு பிரின்ஸ். ஆக்சுவலி அவன் வந்து ஸ்வயம்பரத்துக்கு போவான், பட் he will be raised in the forest because his father would be killed by the father's brother. யுதாஜித்னு அந்த பிரதரோட பேரு. the father will be killed, so the son and the mother will அவ வந்து பிரெக்னன்ட்டா இருக்கறச்சே she will come to this சசிகலான்னு அவ அம்மாக்கு இல்ல இந்த இவளுக்கு
ध्रुवसन्धि कथा। धन्यवादः महोदय।
அதுதான்
एतत् बहु इच्छामि, या पश्यति सा न ब्रूते, या ब्रूते सा न पश्यति, तदेव असत्यमपि न वदति, यद् वक्तव्यं तदेव वदति इति।
करेक्ट करेक्ट करेक्ट. ओके, வேற யாருக்கு நீ
क्षम्यतां भवत्याः समयं
இல்ல இல்ல, நோ ப்ராப்ளம்.
धन्यवादः, शुभदिनम्।
ஓகே, எனி अदर क्वेश्चन சொல்லுங்க.
என்ன மாதிரி
அருண்குமார் சார் சொல்லிடுங்க, அதுக்கப்புறம்.
இந்த மாதிரி சாதாரண ஆளுங்கள்லாம் ஒரு என்லைட்டன் குரு கிட்ட போகும்போது இவங்க எந்த தத்துவங்களை பத்தியோ ಅಥವಾ வேதாந்தங்களை பத்தியோ சித்தாந்தங்களை பத்தியோ அவங்க பாக்குறதே கிடையாது. அவங்க பாக்குறது உன்னுடைய கர்மா என்ன, கர்மாவை டிசல்யூட் பண்றதுக்கு என்ன பண்ணணும், இந்த இடத்துக்கு போ, நீ மந்திர உபதேசம் வாங்கிக்கோ, இல்ல இந்த மாதிரி கிரியா பண்ணு, இல்ல இந்த மாதிரி ஏதோ ஒரு ஆத்மீக சாதனை பண்ணுன்னு சொல்லிடுறாங்க. இது எந்த தத்துவத்தை எந்த உபநிஷதங்களை வேதங்களை படிச்சாலும் நம்மளால எதையுமே புரிஞ்சுக்க முடிய போறது இல்லை. என்ன சொல்றாங்கன்னா உங்களுடைய குண்டலினி ஒவ்வொரு சக்கராவா சுத்தமா 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 மேல வர 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 வரது உங்களுக்கு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் வந்துகிட்டே இருக்கும். இது வந்து ரொம்ப 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 சூக்ஷ்மமான விஷயம். நாம இந்த புக்கை படிச்சு நம்ம மனசுக்கோ நம்ம புத்திக்கோ எற்ற சங்கதியே இது கிடையாது. நல்லா தெரியும். குரு வந்து ரொம்ப சூக்ஷ்மமான விஷயம் இது, இதெல்லாம் சொல்லி புரிய வைக்க முடியாது. ராமகிருஷ்ணன் என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா, எச்சில் படாத ஒரே ஒஸ்திரன்னா அது பிரம்ம ஞானம். யாராலையும் பிரம்மத்தை எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ண முடியாது. நீங்க 1000 புக்கு படிச்சாலுமே எல்லாமே அஞ்ஞானத்தோட வெளிப்பாடுதான் அப்படின்னு அவர் தெளிவா சொல்லிடுறாரு.
கண்டவர் விண்டிலை தானே.
சொர்க்கம் நரக்கம்லாம் இருக்கான்னு கேட்கறதுக்கு அதெல்லாம் எனக்கு தெரியாதுப்பா. பூலோகத்துல ஒரு மனுஷனா பிறக்கிறான்னா அவனுடைய ஒரே குறிக்கோள் பக்தியை பெறுவது. அதை பண்றதுக்கு, அதை பெறுவதற்கு நீ என்ன செய்யணுமோ நீ அதை செய். அதோட அவங்க நிறுத்திக்கிறாரு.
கரெக்ட் தான். See, in a way it simplifies our path. You know, when you look at that, ஒரு பக்தின்னுட்டு நம்ம வந்து ஒருத்தரோட திருவடியை பிடிச்சுட்டோம் வச்சுக்கோங்களேன், that is the easiest pathங்கிறார். even in பாகவதம் ஸ்ரீதர சுவாமி says you have an intellectual method. நீ வந்து யோகாபியாச அது இது என்ன வேணாலும் இருந்துட்டு போட்டோம், பட் the சுலபா கதிஹி து சகுண பக்தின்னு விடுறார். அந்த சகுண பக்தி பண்ண 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 ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்லி சித்திஸ் and everything will come. நம்ம தேடணும்ங்கறது அவசியம்.
இன்னப்போ என்னோட பாஸ்ட் அண்ட் ஃபியூச்சர் வரைக்கும் எல்லாத்தையுமே சொன்னாங்க. நான் வந்து என்ன பத்தி சொல்றதுக்கு முன்னாடி அவங்க என்ன பத்தி எல்லாம் சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தாங்க.
அதெல்லாம் அந்த சித்திகள் தான். ஓகே, राधिका महोदय, you had it.
भगिनी, एतस्मात् पूर्वतनं पद्यं दर्शयति वा कृपया? यत्र द्वितीये पादे काक्षमाः अप्यान्तर तमो हर्तुः बाह्ये तमसि काक्षमा அப்படிங்கிறதுக்கு உள்ள இருக்கிற இருட்டையே போக்க கூடியவருக்கு இந்த வெளி இருட்டு ஒரு பொருட்டா, அந்த மாதிரி அர்த்தம் ஏதாவது துவனிக்கிறதா இதுல?
ஆமா ஆமா, அந்த அர்த்தம் தான். அதே அர்த்தம் தான். இவருக்கு என்ன பெரிய வெளியில இருக்கக்கூடிய இது, அதுதான் அர்த்தம். அந்த க்ஷமாங்கிற பதத்துக்கு வந்து பொறுமைங்கிற ஒரு அர்த்தம் இருக்கோ இல்லையோ, க்ஷாந்திஹின்னு ஒண்ணு, சமர்த்தத்துவம்னு ஒண்ணு இருக்கு, க்ஷாந்திஹி இத்யபி அர்த்தः வர்த்ததே. So why has he been so patient about it for so long னு எடுத்துக்கலாம். Or what is the big thing about பாஹ்யதமஸ் when he is capable of removing the antaratamас?
யாரு சிவனை சொல்றாரா? சிவனுக்கு இது ஒரு பொருட்டான்ற மாதிரி.
ஆமா, அவருக்கு என்னத்துக்கு இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ரெட்டினியூவா ராஜாட்ட சொல்லி கனவுல வந்து ஆளை கூப்பிட்டு தேளை கூப்பிட்டு என்னத்துக்கு பண்ணிருக்கணும்ங்கிறார். ஏன் பண்றார் அதெல்லாம் கேட்கக்கூடாது நம்ம கேள்வி. ஏதோ பண்றார். see, அனுகிரகம் தானே. he wants to give the opportunity for others also. அவருடைய ஒரு கைங்கரியத்துக்கு உண்டான ஒரு லீலை இதெல்லாம் வந்து பகவத் லீலையில ஒரு ஒன் ஆஃப் த லீலாஸ்.
அப்ப அந்த முதல் 2 பாதத்துல அவர் இந்த மாதிரி இது காட்சமா கேட்டுட்டோ, அடுத்த 2 பாதம் அது எப்படி அது லிங்க் கனெக்ஷன்?
அதுதான் நான் வந்து அந்த செகண்ட் சர்க்கத்தோட லிங்க் பண்ணேன், உங்களுக்கு சொன்னேன். நஹி ஈஸ்வராஹா பரியனயோகசீலாஹான்னு இருக்கு பார்த்தேடா, அந்த செகண்ட் சர்க்கத்துல. அவ்வளவுதான். இவருக்கு என்ன, எதுக்காக இப்படி, அதெல்லாம் விட்டுருவோம், லாபம் என்னன்னு பாப்போமா நம்ம அப்படிங்கிறார். See, his philosophy is very clear there. Why should I question the actions of Parameshwara here? Because I am not going to get an answer there. என்ன ஆன்சர் சொன்னாலும் நம்மளுடைய கர்மாக்களுக்கே, நமக்கு வர்ற வினைகளுக்கே நமக்கு வந்து பதில் சொல்ல முடியாதப்போ பரமேஸ்வரனுடைய ஆக்ஷன்ஸை நம்ம வந்து அப்படியே அனலைஸ் பண்ணி இதுக்காக தான் அவர் பண்ணாருன்னு நம்ம எப்படி சொல்ல முடியுங்கிறார். Let's look at the flip side of it and say, okay, அவனுக்கு ஒரு அஜ்ஞானம் வரக்கூடாதுங்கிறதுக்காக பகவான் வந்து அஜ்ஞானத்தை தங்கிட்டே வச்சுட்டாரோ நம்ம இத்தனை நாள் அப்படின்னு ஒரு விஷயத்த சொல்லிட்டு இருக்காரு. அவ்வளவுதான். ஓகே, யா, நமஸ்தே. नमः सुन्दरनाथाय तस्मै हालस्य वासिने चतुष्षष्टि विधा लीला येनाकारे भुवस्थले श्रीमत् सुन्दरनाथस्य देवीं शपरलोचनां कलये हृदये नित्यं कदम्ब वनवासिनी.